Good morning, ladies. So this week is Easter. The truth about Easter and Christmas and the Christian church and the Catholic church is that it's all pagan. It's all pagan. And when you read the prophecies and you understand the history and how the New Testament quotes the Old Testament, it's very plain to see. So I'm just gonna run through this a little bit. Is a condensed quick teaching on the history and Easter. In Daniel 9 verses 26 and 27, it tells us that the Messiah is cut off in the midst of the week. Literally the middle of the week. Wednesday. When you read the Gospels, you learn that he was put on the stake at the third hour. The first hour is 6 a.m. So the third hour is 9 a.m. He was on the stake for 6 hours and he died at the 9th hour. That's 3 p.m. right smack in the middle of the week. So when you work backwards, when you read the Gospels, you can piece together the timeline of the last week of the Messiah. So Wednesday, the week before he was killed, he was in Bethany at Mary and Martha's house. That's when Mary poured the oil over Yeshua's head and cleaned his feet with her hair. The next day, Thursday, is when he went into Jerusalem and everybody was praising him and singing Hosanna in the highest and putting the palms down for him, for the colt to walk on. So that Palm Sunday that the church calls was actually Thursday. Thursday, Friday, and Sabbath day, he spent teaching in the synagogues. He was in and out. You can read, it says that he was lodging in Bethany. He was staying at Lazarus's house, and then would go into Jerusalem, into the city, to teach and preach. Sunday was the Sermon on the Mount of Olives. Tuesday, he did the Passover. Tuesday night was the Passover dinner, the Last Supper, as the church calls it. Then he went into the Garden of Gethsemane. Judas Iscariot brought the Roman soldiers in to capture him. He went to Pontius Pilate, then to Herod, back to Pontius. He had the trial. And Wednesday morning, they put him on the stake. He was dead by 3 p.m. The sky was dark from noon to 3, I think it was. And then he was in the tomb Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. That's 3 nights. And 3 days is Thursday, Friday, and Sabbath day. And he rose on the Sabbath because he is the Lord of the Sabbath. He did not rise on Sunday. The church will do anything to make anything look like it happened on a Sunday. It's absolutely disgusting. Easter comes from the pagan worship of the goddess of heaven, whose name was Ishtar. Ishtar is Easter, obviously. Depending on the pagan culture, the name changed a little bit from culture to culture, but it was some variation of that name. What they would do is they'd have a great big orgy, and then the children that were conceived on Easter, born 9 months later, Many of them were sacrificed at the winter solstice, Christmas. Some of them were saved to be sacrificed the following Easter, which was the spring equinox, and they would sacrifice those children. And the tradition of dyeing eggs comes from what they would do at the spring equinox. Was bunnies are a sign of new life, right? You fuck like rabbits, make lots of babies. It's a sign of new life. They would take eggs, obviously, right? Eggs, fertility, and dip them in the blood of the babies that they sacrificed. That's where your egg dipping comes from. So everybody who's dyeing eggs with their children, you are spiritually dipping eggs in the blood of the sacrificed children, all those aborted babies. Fucking wicked people. And you all sit here and say, oh, but we made it for Jesus. You don't even understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's for Jesus, the winter solstice demigod. The Messiah is Yeshua. He did die on the stake. He did go to the heart of Sheol, and he did rise again. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. And he's going to come back, and he's going to burn up everybody who does Easter and Christmas. And the most disgusting thing, you're sacrificing your children. And then you have the nerve to have a big old ham on Easter, your Easter ham. Well, Isaiah 66 tells you that those eating swine's flesh behind one tree, your Christmas tree, is going to be consumed with fire. So it's time to repent. It's time to get rid of all that Easter stuff. It's time to get rid of all that Christmas stuff. It's time to learn about who the Father truly is. Who is Jehovah? Because he's pissed. He's long-suffering and he's merciful, but he's coming to the end of his rope very, very rapidly. And everybody who does this pagan idolatry worship is going to go to hell. I mean, at least you're going to end up in tribulation. If you don't repent there, you're going to hell. There's no way around that. So you need to repent. You need to stop doing this crap. You need to tell your children the truth and stop lying. Stop lying to your children about Satan Claus. Time is short. Repent.